about PokeSpot. This will be my tier list series, series where we break down Pokemon tier lists. So today I'll be doing a Reg J tier list, and these will be my thoughts on the Reg J format. So off the rip, there are a few Pokemon that are not in Scarlet and Violet, and they're not transferable over. Celebi, Genesect, Marshadow, Zeraora, Melmetal, and Victini are not playable in Scarlet and Violet. They're not transferable into the decks. They're not transferable into the game, sorry. So we'll be starting off with our tier list here. We'll be starting off with Mew. So Mew is a very interesting Pokemon to talk about. This is your Swiss Army knife of Pokemon. This is your do-it-all master of none Pokemon, right? Base 100 across the board. That's the trend with most of these mythicals. You can tailor this thing to run in any way, shape, or form you need it to run. So that is kind of the whole niche or shtick of Mew, is that Mew can learn all the available TMs in the game. So it's not like Smeargle, where Smeargle can learn signature moves. Mew can't do that. But Mew gets access to a lot of interesting moves like Snarl, Wide Guard. No, I can't get Wide Guard. Excuse me. You can learn Will-O-Wisp. It gets Tailwind, Thunder Wave, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can learn Thunder Wave. So, you can run it to have a pretty standard supporting moveset or whatever you might need for your team. And if you might need a particularly bulkier Smeargle, well, then Mew's your answer, right? Mew's locked into it. Mew's locked into Synchronized, so most of these mythicals only have one ability. Mew's in a weird spot here. There are a lot of Pokemon on this tier list that are fighting for spots on the team with other more viable restricteds. And if you don't have a good matchup or synergize well with that Pokemon, it's hard to say, hey, run Mew over CSR, right? Mew's fighting for a spot with CSR as well as a few of these other Pokemon on the tier list, and it doesn't have a good matchup into CSR. Excuse me. It doesn't have a good matchup in the CSR, and it doesn't synergize well with it. So Mew's in an interesting spot here. There's a lot of these other mythicals where it's a little bit underpowered for the format. Now, I don't know ish about VGC. All right, there's disclaimer there. I don't know ish about VGC, but I just don't think you could get serious, legit mileage out of Mew unless there's just some madmen piloting it, right? But excuse me, I don't think you can get any real mileage out of Mew. Now, is it useless? No. It can be used to counter specific things with its moveset as well as Terra type. The problem is, do you want to be burning your Terra on the mythical? That's a very hard question to ask, and the only way you could really know that is to actually build a team around your mythical or build it with another restricted or mythical that synergizes well with it. I don't see any of these synergizing well except for Darkrai and Victini, but Victini's not legal, so there won't be any Darkrai Victini shenanigans. I'm going to go ahead and put Mew in the B tier. I don't think it's completely trash, and I don't think it's mid. I just think that you have to invest so much into it, and at that point, I don't think you're getting more out of it than a CSR or an Ice Rider or even a Zamazenta for that matter, right? Even though Mew can learn a lot more moves supportive-wise than Zamazenta can, I still think Zenta's bulk and as well as typing just make it a little bit more useful. I think that's the big issue with a lot of these is the typing thing. A lot of these mythicals don't have great defensive typing. So they can't really switch into these big attacks that are going to be coming out in the format from Miraidon, from Koraidon, from Calyrex, right? These really powerful offensive Pokemon, Water Spout, Kyogre, you don't resist Spout and you don't have screens or a way to shut down the weather, bro, a lot of these are just going to fall, right? So yeah, I'm just going to put B. I'm just going to put Mew in B tier. just because it has potential, right? But it has undiscovered potential. Somebody has to really dig deep and find out, like, oh wow, Mew synergizes real well with this Pokemon and this. And I'm not talking about like just putting it on Side Spam because that's obvious, right? Like Side Spam expanding force, right? Something a lot more niche, like maybe a Bug Buzz set, maybe Scarf Mew with like really super good coverage moves. Who knows? But I think you can. It can be serviceable. It's usable. The next one we'll be talking about here is Jirachi. Base 100 across the board again. Now, Jirachi does have a slightly better ability than Mew. Mew has Synchronized. Jirachi has Serene Grace, which Serene Grace, I believe, yeah, the secondary effects of moves are doubled to happen. So the ubiquitous move on it is Iron Head because you got like a 50% chance to flinch there. So like some people run like Scarf Iron Head or Choice Band Iron Head with Tailwind, right? Or even like a Iron Head like defensive set like Protect, Iron Head, Wish. I think the ultimate niche with this is like it gets access to Wish and Healing Wish, and flinching is really huge in VGC. Like if you can outspeed something and stop it from moving, which is why Rock Slide is so good, right? Like there are a lot of really fast offensive Pokemon that get Rock Slide and they can outspeed things and give them a chance to flinch, essentially like making sure no damage comes from that Pokemon that turn or no Thunder Wave or whatever it might be, right? That's huge. So I think because of that, you can get a real, there's a lot more, at least more instantly proven case and scenario for, and as far as I'm aware of, none of these have ever been legal in the competitive VGC format. Competitive VGC will be running Regulation H, which is no legendary Pokemon, so this will only be for the ranked Scarlet and Violet ladder. It's still going to be fun to see what people use, but I still think like double regular restricteds, not mythicals, are going to be a lot better than a lot of these Pokemon just because they kind of outpower and outspeed them, That's kind of like the issue here. But Jirachi's ability, as well as like Iron Head, Protect, Wish, and like Healing Wish, or maybe you slap on another coverage move. I don't think Doom Desire is good. I don't think Calm Mind Jirachi's very good. Maybe you throw Thunder Wave on it. I put Trick. Yeah, maybe you slap Thunder Wave on this thing. And you like call it a day, like a Scarf or like leftovers or something. I'm gonna put Jirachi in C tier. It has a little bit more of a defined role than Mew, but it does less, right? Like it's limited in what it can do and what it can offer your team. So I don't think it's more valuable in Mew in that situation, where Mew can be teched to counter a specific mod or a specific strat or playstyle. So we're just gonna put Jirachi in C tier. Who are we talking about next? Let's do the DNA alien. So let's do Deoxys here. Deoxys, so poor Deoxys. Why has Rayquaza forsaken you? Deoxys is in the same spot as Mew. It's fighting for a spot with CSR. And because of that, you look at its stats and immediately this thing is as frail as a wet noodle, right? Like its bones are as tender as your 99-year-old grandmother. It's gonna get knocked out by most decently offensive Pokemon, and I don't know if you really want to throw Sash on it. Like it's your restricted. Do we like really want to run a Sash on our restricted? You could get more viability out of it with Sash, but I mean, mixed attacker, like these offensive stats could have been put into defenses and maybe Deoxys would have been viable. Like if Deoxys had base 100 HP and base 100 Spadef, I'd say, hey, like you could do some shit with Deoxys, but with this base like stat spread, it's not doing anything, right? Because you're only going to be using one of those attacking stats at a time. And while it is going to outspeed majority of things in the format aside from CSR, CSR just blasts it. Like what? Like you have to burn your Terra on these Pokemon for it to live in front of the stronger Pokemon that have super effective moves into it. And if you're not like you're not gonna know what everyone's Terra type is. So like you could like tech Deoxys to do like Terra Steel because Terra Fairy Life Orb CSR is popular in the format right now, but not everybody's gonna run Terra Fairy Life Orb CSR on ladder, right? People are gonna try out different sets, and it just can't take a hit, man. Like once it hits something, it can knock things out, right? But like let's look at its moveset, right? And by the way, for the other forms, I don't think any of the other forms are usable. Deoxys defense is not bulky enough, and while Deoxys does have access to recover, it, it's not going to be getting to use recover very often when CSR is going to smash into it with a life or potentially nasty plotted Astro Barrage. Like again, you could tear away, but it's still going to hit you really hard. Um, Deoxys defense doesn't have high base HP. It has high defenses, but not high base HP. Deoxys speed is fast, but I don't think it hits hard enough. It doesn't hit as hard as attack or base Deoxys, so like I don't see why to use it because you could just use other forms of speed control. The only viable one I think is the base form, right? Deoxys attack is even further than that, so I wouldn't even recommend using it because then you have to throw Sash on it, right, to immediately get an extra turn out of it. Deoxys forms tangent aside, you could get away with running Deoxys. It has a crazy move set, extreme speed, screens. Again, like you could lean. Like the only thing I could see here is like actually leaning into the mixed attacking set and just trying to hit as many things super effectively as you can. That's that's what Deoxys and like Pokemon like Mew could do. And Deoxys could fill that role a lot better because it's so fast. It's gonna outspeed everything aside from CSR, man. And you could pick up some potentially big one hit KOs, but it's still trying too hard on a Pokemon that probably isn't going to give you really good mileage in the form. I mean, it just falls to any hit from Koraidon, any hit from Miraidon. Let me take a look at Deoxys defense. And this ability here, pressure, like you're getting no mileage out of pressure with Deoxys unless you use defense because none of these forms of Deoxys are going to even be able to stick on the field for that long, right? To get mileage out of pressure. Again, you could run like a protect, recover, stealth rock, like thunder wave set on this thing. It's not dirt slow, but 50 HP, even with those defenses, is not cutting it in a format where Pokemon have 150 special attack, 130 attack. Uh, the amount of boost Miraidon gets is wicked upon switching. Like it's just gonna get trucked, right? I think all of the Deoxys forms go in D tier. And it's not to say like, oh, you're just gonna beat every single Deoxys you see. No. But like into a CSR matchup, if you don't have the right defensive Terra and like the best possible moves in that particular matchup, which is come on, it's VGC, that's so hyper specific. That situation is rarely gonna happen. I don't think you get much mileage out of any of the Deoxys forms. They're too frail and they just don't hit hard enough. And the ability is kind of the thing. Like if Deoxys had like a decent ability, like Deoxys can hit through Protector, something crazy like that. Yeah, I'd say run Deoxys because it's just gonna smash everything, right? But Protect is ubiquitous in VGC. It's all over the place. So yeah, I stand on that. The Deoxys forms are D tier. They're just not good in this super high powered format. Now the next Pokemon we're gonna talk about. So we're gonna talk about Manaphy. And Manaphy has the same problem as Mew and Deoxys. Urshifu just does this job better, right? Like if you want a water type, just run Rapid Strike Urshifu. If and when it comes to team building, and I'm not trying to deter anybody away from actually using these Pokemon. You could pick up wins on the ladder with these Pokemon if you run into the right opponent. But when you run into those typical matchups, it's going to be hard. Like, you know, it gets an interesting move in Heart Swap, which swaps the boost with a targeted Pokemon. So this could like really like just ruin a Dondozo or a Nasty Plotted CSR's day if you catch them on the turn that they Nasty Plot. You can rip away Swords Dance boost. You won't be able to use the boost, which should probably be special attacking. Base 100 across the board, so you kind of build it how you want. Again, like Mew, where you want to run special defensive, physically defensive, special attacking, physical attacking. But I believe most of its moves are special attacking moves. I guess a few physical moves, but you probably want to be using special attacking. You know, I overlooked this earlier, but it gets Tail Glow. Tail Glow is good. Like instant 3+ special attack is huge. Next to a redirection Pokemon. So, you know, next to a Clefairy, and if you're not facing a spread move, you could go +3 and just smash stuff. But that's super hyper specific. You'd probably be around out with like Protect. Oh, excuse me, I put it in the hydration slot. Probably round off with like Protect. And this is just my opinion. This is probably not going to be the most popular moveset on like Scald. Doesn't get access to Scald. So yeah, you probably just want to Scald. That's really not a bad moveset. Like you know, this now that I'm thinking about it, this would be crazy in the like those super niche like minimized teams. You just steal their evasion boosts if it hits, right? And it hits no matter what. There's no accuracy on it, huh? So I mean that's crazy into those teams, right? But those are like the more niche teams in the format. You get Ice Beam, you get Screens, Alluring Voice, Flip Turn. I don't think it's as bad as Deoxys, because Deoxys, poor Deoxys. I'll put Fion where Deoxys is, because Fion is just diet Manaphy, right, in terms of stats, right? Yeah, it's just diet Manaphy in terms of stats. So I think Manaphy is about as useful as Jirachi, right? Like it could potentially hit things really freaking hard, but it's hyper specific and really difficult to probably pull that niche strat off. But again, you got to respect that Tail Glow. Like I've been crushed a few times on ladder by Tail Glow, not seeing it coming and not even knowing that move was a thing until I like saw Volbeat and Illumise click it. But I'll put it as C tier just because I think Tail Glow could, if you could get it off safely, can just really run through a lot of things on the ladder. It's got a good matchup into Ice Rider with Scald, right? You don't want to see a Miraidon. Could Terra Grass, but then you lose your good matchup into Ice Rider. So like these Pokemon are in like very situational situations where like there are already Pokemon in the format that counter them and counter them very well and could potentially one-shot them. So it's like if you run it, you kind of have to burn the Terra if you run into that matchup, and your other Pokemon on the team might suffer in their matchups. Like if you run like Fiona, Miraidon, and you run into an Ice Rider team, like you're gonna need that Terra on Miraidon to like face the Ice Rider. It'd be like Ice Rider, Rillaboom, or maybe they have another grass type in their team like Whimsicott or something. Whimsicott doesn't typically pack a grass move, but you know, just an example. Yeah, we'll put Manaphy in C tier. Next Pokemon that I think is going to be good. Now, this is going to be the first one I straight up rank off the rip. S tier Darkrai. Alright, I checked this before making the video, and I was actually saying this. I thought Wide Guard blocked Dark Void. Wide Guard does not block Dark Void. That is a problem, because the only thing that checks this thing in the format is now Miraidon, And while Miraidon will be popular, it will not be on every single team. So immediately, like if there's no Miraidon across the board, Darkrai is looking juicy. Like it's looking like you lead it and just Dark Void everyone. Like tail next to, I mean, paired next to a like prankster Gravity Sableye with wide lens or even like Choice Scarf, you're all of a sudden outspeeding things and throwing really like accurate Dark Voids, really accurate Dark Voids. Like that's really scary to think about because I am not a Miraidon player, so this will be very good into me. But I think there are going to be some people who are going to try to make this work. And I think double sleep is just massive in VGC. Like the fact that wide guard does not check this means that all the teams that are running wide guard on like a Zama team, on like a CSR or an Ice Rider team or Koraidon, anything that's not Miraidon is instantly going to get slept by Darkrai if you build it right. And that's a problem. That is a huge problem. I think there's only going to be 2 Pokemon on this list that are S tier spoilers. Darkrai is one of them. Guess the other one. Guess the other one. If you have your nose at VGC, I'm pretty sure you could guess, or competitive Pokemon. None of these have ever been legal in competitive VGC as far as I'm aware. Again, I don't know ish about VGC, but I think Darkrai with Dark Void next to the right partner is devastating. It gets access to really good coverage moves like Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, and then you can run like a Protect. Bad Dreams also make sure that the Pokemon that are slept are taking residual damage. So that's huge. Like once both opposing Pokemon are slept and they're taking residual damage, Darkrai could potentially pick up a KO on one Pokemon if they don't switch out, right? And if they switch out, it's like they still have to deal with being asleep while coming back in. So like Darkrai is huge. Yeah, Darkrai is the second Pokemon on this list, like Deoxys, to break the traditional 100 base stat spread across the board. It's got a respectable 135 special attack. This thing is fast at 125. It can keep up with the faster Pokemon in the format like Miraidon and Koraidon. While it slightly underspeeds them, it's close enough to where you can outspeed if they don't max out in speed. It's not too bulky, but like it's a fast special attacker with the ability to double sleep the opponent. I think the utility in this Pokemon is crazy. I think it could really absolutely blow up the format. Don't sleep on Darkrai. You'll have bad dreams. Next Pokemon we're going to talk about. Now, I was going to wait to talk about this at the end, but I want to talk about it so badly because I've been seeing so many different sets online. This will be the second one that I instantly grade off the rip. Arceus is going to be an S tier in this format. There is absolutely no doubt about this. Now, again, I don't know ish about VGC. All right, I'm just your regular guy that plays Pokemon, but Arceus is going to hit really hard. So, E-Speed, Swords Dance, Protect, and whatever like damn coverage move you want after that point, right? Next to a Chin Pao with like a Life Orb, Terra Normal, this thing is going to crush Pokemon. It is going to absolutely just ring that Oko bell. If you ever watch the regional streams and the Pokemon gets one shot, they ring the Oko bell. Get that fucking bell ready. This thing is going to claim back. It is going to like just knock everything out in the format that doesn't resist. It's going to definitely two-shot everything inside of the format. It's going to make so where if this Pokemon like rises in too much popularity, everybody's just going to pack Indeedee and Frigorap off the rip. Like, because you're going to have to block this to shut it down. You have to. Like, with Life Orb, Like, even without a swords dance, it's gonna crush Pokemon, bro. It really is. Like, do your E speed calcs, man. It's stab at E speed with Life Orb, and it could get Helping Handed. It's gonna crush every Pokemon in the format. Can Chin Pao learn Helping Hand? RCS, don't tell us you punished us by saying Chin Pao gets Helping Hand. This is the super secret tech. Like, if Chin Pao gets Helping Hand, please, please, I'm losing sleep. Okay, Chin Pao does not get Helping Hand. Of course, it doesn't get Helping Hand, but there are a lot of Pokemon that get Helping Hand that can be really good, like Clefairy, Indeedee. Indeedee, this team, whatever team they might build around Arceus, might pack Indeedee or Farigiraf on it anyways. Almost like a Farigiraf, just because, like, if Arceus is popular, you're going to be running into other Arceuses, and what better way to stuff Arceus than have Farigiraf, right? Have the Pokemon that they're trying to use to counter you. So we can see a lot of, like, Arceus, potentially Arceus Farigiraf matchups. Farigiraf, it will be a great partner into it if it does become the most popular mythical in the format, which I have no doubt that it will be, given that Arceus is base 120 across the board. Right? So this thing can hit harder than any of the other mythicals physically. We're gonna have to pray that we don't have to fall asleep trying to calculate if it'll knock all of our Pokemon out with E-Speed. Arceus S tier. I mean, you could run the special attacking variant, but I think this physical attacking variant is going to be so good that there's going to be no need to explore the special attacking set. Incineroar is a thing, right? But this thing can just pack a clear amulet if you don't want to run the Life Orb. I I am kind of a believer in what Wolf did though with Koraidon. What Wolf did with Koraidon was that everybody was like clear amulet, clear amulet, clear amulet, clear amulet. Wolf just straight up threw Life Orb on Koraidon saying, hey, screw your Intimidate. I'm still going to hit you with a super effective move anyways. So with the Life Orb, it essentially almost negates the Intimidate, and I'm still getting a little bit of extra chip damage off with the Life Orb, right? So getting that extra oomph into the attack. So there could be some people who choose to do that. Clear Amulet will still most likely be the most popular item on it, given that like the only reliable counterplay to a physical attacking E-Speed Arceus is Incineroar, barring Clear Amulet, and Pokemon that block priority moves like Bruxfish. But you don't want to use Bruxfish; it's probably too frail. I don't know the stats, but Farigiraf, I think Farigiraf might be physically bulkier than Indeedee female, so I think Farigiraf will probably be the best thing to counter this thing. But enough about E-Speed Arceus. In a month, it's gonna be all in our face, bro. I guarantee it. And there are gonna be some people out there who try to run more niche sets on this mod, other than the E-Speed set, to catch you off guard. Like, hopefully, there's somebody that doesn't try to mix this thing with Paris Trap or something, right? Right. But moving on, we're talking about Shaman next. Shaman is a Pokemon that I don't think people will be using the base form. I think most people will be using the Shaman Sky form. So base Shaman has 100 across the board. Shaman Sky does not have base 100 across the board. It is a fast special attacker. Yes, it is a fast special attacker. So decent HP, average defenses in 75, decent attack stat in 103. You're not going to be picking up any one-hit knockouts with that though, with the center run in the format. Um, Really good special attack in 120. Really great speed in 127. Ice Rider. That's like my number one thing when I see this. Ice Rider. You're going to have to burn your Terra in front of Ice Rider and in front of anything that could potentially be packing Ice Beam or an Ice Move. Now, his thing does crush Kyogre. If you're matching Tailwind, you just straight up crush Kyogre. But Seed Flare has a chance to miss. Seed Flare is base 85 accuracy. It is a spread move and does have the potential to lower special defense by 2 stages, which is huge and could potentially pick up a second hit knockout, a 2-hit knockout on things that it can't, right? But Ice Rider is in the format, and I think Ice Rider is just a little bit too much for Shaman, because Shaman is not specially or physically defensive to deal with either variant. You have to Terra in front of Ice Rider. Um, you got to Terra in front of certain other Pokemon. Like, this thing is neutral to Miraidon hits. It's gonna go down to a hit. In E Drift on terrain from Miraidon is gonna put Shaman right back in the Pokeball. Like, you're gonna be calling it right back. You're gonna have to say Shaman return because this Miraidon just decided to spin tackle you. She decided to E Drift you into the Pokeball. So yeah, Endeavor, Healing Wish leaves. It gets access to good moves, but I don't think you can use some of these more frailer mythicals because these Pokemon in the format hit really, really, really hard. They hit really hard. Even in the neutral Pokemon, a lot of these powerful non-mythical restricteds hit just too hard for a neutral Pokemon. Like neutral Flare Blitz, you're going down to Koraidon. Neutral Idra from Specs Miraidon, it's going down. Neutral Astral Barrage from Specs or Life Orb Calyrex goes down. Even if you tear away to a neutral, like Ice Rider doesn't typically pack an attack boosting item, but I still don't think you have a good matchup in the Ice Rider unless it like Terra Waters, right? But I don't know why it would Terra in front of you, given that you can't hit it super effectively. You might have to. I mean, you could potentially hit it super effectively with a coverage move, depending on the Terra type, right? But like, is there anything that could hit Psychic or Ice here super effectively? Oh, there actually isn't. It only learns Grass, Flying, Psychic, and normal type moves. Yep, those are all of its offensive type moves: Grass, Flying, and Psychic. It gets a few normal attacking moves, just Endeavor. Yeah, I don't think Shaman Sauce. I don't think either formula is good. It's gonna go in D tier down with Manaphy and Deoxys. Fast, frail attacker, and it doesn't have the niche of statusing you like Darkrai does, which is a lot better than dropping your opponent's special defense by 2. Especially when you can guarantee like 75% of the time this is happening. Yeah, or 65% of the time this is happening, whatever the gravity multiplier boost is. No, no. I mean, it has Serene Grace, right? So Seed Flare, 40% chance. It now has like a 60% chance. It doubles. 80% chance to lower special defense, but it can miss. It can miss. Again, 85% accuracy is not good in doubles, and wide guard is a thing. Wide guard is a thing. It's a real thing. It's not a myth. Wide guard is an actual thing. So I mean, I again, Shaman D tier. I'm sorry, Shaman. You're the warrior of the sky, but in Reg J, where these Pokemon are throwing out nukes of attacks, I just don't think you can stick around. The next mon we'll be talking about, and it's gonna be fun to talk about the rest of these because I have actually not battled with the rest of these Pokemon on this list. I've actually never battled with a Deoxys or any of the Pokemon that says not an SV. But I've used Darkrai, I've used Arceus, I've used Mew, I've used Manaphy. But the rest of these I'm talking about, I have not battled with at all. So this is going to be interesting because we can explore their moveset a little bit more together. Let's start off with Keldeo. Keldeo has 2 different forms, and I believe it's going to break that mold as well of base 100 across the board. So yeah, neither Keldeo form is base 100 across the board. What is the difference in these forms? So there seems to be no stat difference. So the difference must be in the ability. No, they both have Justify. The difference must be in the moveset then. Keldeo Resolute must have a special move over Keldeo. So it gets Secret Sword, it gets Sacred Sword. You can run Life Orb, Scarf. Um, here we go. Problem again. It's got the same typing as Urshifu, and Urshifu doesn't take up a restricted slot. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know ish about VGC. You might not have heard this if you live under a rock. Urshifu can hit through Protect. So Keldeo not having that utility is really big. Only advantage Keldeo has over Urshifu is that it's a special attacker, but Urshifu ignores attack drops on its signature moves, Surging Strikes and Wicked Blow. Um, but we'll be talking about specifically Rapid Strike, right? So Surging Strikes, yeah, ignores stat drops because it crits on each hit. So dropping its attack is meaningless when it's just most likely going to be spamming that move. And the only other thing it clicks, Rapid Strike specifically, is U-turn, Aqua Jet, and Close Combat. And for the most part, it's only clicking those moves very situationally. It's mostly going to be clicking Surging Strikes. Hard to say what kind of usage you can get out of Keldeo when I haven't explored it too much. But I still think Urshifu outvalues this Pokemon. I'm assuming Secret Sword is its signature move because I've never seen that move on another Pokemon. Let's explore the other Keldeo form. Yeah, the stats are exactly the same. So do you get a different move, my friend? All right, Google help us. So as far as I can tell, there is no competitive difference to these two different Keldeo forms. One form just looks cooler than the other one since it doesn't have a stat or move set change, secret special move change. So I'm putting Keldeo in C tier. Like Manaphy, it can hit really hard under rain, but Urshifu hits harder and does ignore Intimidate with Surging Strikes. So it does the job a lot better as far as like fast, hard hitting water type Pokemon. Urshifu just fills the slot much better. Secrets, I mean, these Pokemon have amazing moves, like amazing tech coverage moves. Keldeo not so much as like the other ones because Keldeo is supposed to be a rain sweeper, right? But let me see its speed stat. That might be slightly faster than Urshifu. Let me see. Yeah, so it is slightly faster than Urshifu. Urshifu's base 97 speed, but you could just run Scarf, right? Like, just run Scarf on Urshifu, and you patch that right up, right? And that's not too fast. Like if it was 130, I'd be like, whoa, 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 this thing's Usain Bolt, but 11 points higher than Urshifu in speed. Urshifu could still be trained to outspeed this thing if you don't go max speed investment on Keldeo. And again, Scarf is a thing. Choice Scarf, right? Keldeo C tier. I'm sorry, Keldeo. I love your design. I love water type Pokemon. I love the whole sword shtick, but Urshifu just does the job better and is so much more harder for teams to deal with because Protect is the best move in VGC, and Urshifu just saying, "Hey, screw your Protect or screw your resist, screw your switching, screw your screens, screw my stat drops." Like, you know, is just so much better, right? Urshifu just says, "Hey, I'm the best. I'm the best water type in the format. You have to use me." So it beats these Pokemon out for a team slot. Unfortunately, they can be used, but you're going. It's going to take a lot of time investment. We're gonna go with Meloetta. Now, I did previously look up on what the difference between these two Meloetta forms is. Unlike Keldeo, there is an actual difference. One version of Meloetta is a special attacker and normal and psychic, while the other version of Meloetta is a physical attacker and it's normal fighting. So that's very unique. Meloetta also has Serene Grace. I did. I think Meloetta. People are gonna sleep on this mod. I don't. I don't think the physical attacking variant will be good. It's really fast. It hits really hard. Somewhat average bulk. Still locked in the Serene Grace. What moves do you get? Gets good. It gets close combat. Knockoff. Perish Song. Thunder Wave. U turn. Oh, it gets gravity. Don't let the Darkrai players see this. I think you would have to run Clear Amulet on it, and I'm looking through its moveset just to try to see like what could. I mean, triple axle is really not a bad move. I just don't think you get much mileage out of the physical attacking variant of Meloetta. Now, I will say this: after looking at this spread, it's a lot faster. So maybe that could be it's like defining niche. This Meloetta is a little bit bulkier. This is a slower, bulkier, special attacking, specially defensive Meloetta. 100 HP is really good. Great speed def in 128. Great special attack. Average speed stat in 90. That's kind of slightly slow in today's generation when base 100 is looked at as slow. But um, let's see here. And this is like kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about. Why I kind of compared it to Darkrai earlier. Where's Meloetta's signature move? Don't let Wolf see this, by the way. Relic Song. So Relic Song is a very interesting move, right? Serene Grace doubles the chances for secondary effects to happen. Relic Song is a damaging Dark Void. Now, the effect to sleep is not 50%. It's not 75%. But and it does not instantly put the opponent to sleep on contact. There's a 10% chance to sleep the foe. To sleep the foe. With Serene Grace, it's 20%. That's that's huge. Like throat spray on this thing, um, it is instantly just shut down by throat chop, but nobody packs throat chop in VGC. Nobody uses that move, at least not on the ladder. I don't know if that move is popular in competitive tournaments, but on the ladder, no. Relic Song, it gets access to Hypnosis, Thunder Wave, Trick Room. coaching, endure, gravity. I mean, Meloetta gets access to some really decent moves, but I think this move set right here with the right partners could really blow the game apart. Like having a chance to even sleep one of the one of the opponent's Pokemon while damaging them. You're not hitting them too hard, but it's decent damage. You're not gonna one shot anything with this move, but it's very, very, very decent damage. Yeah, 75 base power. The move doesn't miss, and with a chance to sleep, if they don't have Covert Cloak, they could potentially just go night night, right? Night night. So I think an attacking move that could put Pokemon to sleep is huge. I put Meloetta in the A tier, and I'm gonna put the physical attacking variant in B tier. Don't think the physical attacking variant of Meloetta is very good. I don't think it's very good. It gets hyper voice, so maybe you run like hyper voice instead of gravity. But I think Meloetta is one of the more decent mythicals. It's especially defensive. It's psychic type, but it's good matchup in the CSR because CSR can't hit it with Astral Barrage. CSR can't hit it with Shadow Ball. CSR is gonna have to click Earth Power or Giga Drain or Draining Kiss or some other, not its best move, right? So that is a very huge niche for Meloetta, is that it can wall out CSR, right? Now CSR, especially defensive as well. So its really only problem is going to be physical attacking Pokemon, which Psychic, I believe, resists fighting types. So I believe would be neutral in the fighting moves there. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Know your resistances. Professor Juan says so. All right, on to the next mod. So the rest of these mods I have definitely not used. DNC. So DNC has a Mega, so we got to put DNC's Mega in here because it's not an SV. Poor DNC, can't Mega. Rock Fairy, stuck to Clear Body, and it is a woof, 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 woof. Look at those defense stats. It is a slower, bulkier Deoxys defense. Well, no, it's not bulkier. Deoxys defense is slightly bulkier with 160, right? Rock Fairy type is bad typing. If it was Fairy Steel, it could be a good wall, but Rock Fairy type can be hit by water. You're neutral to fighting, so I think it covers for that. Um, you wall out fire type moves. Rock resists fire, and Fairy resists fire as well, I believe. So you're quad resisted to fire type moves. Takes fire type moves really well. Let me see your moveset. Let me see your moveset. Encore Endeavor. It might be good on the Trick Room. 100 offenses is not horrible, but it's also not really, really good. You're not gonna be blowing Pokemon in the format up. So signature move seems to be Diamond Storm. 50% chance to raise the user's defense by 2. Now that is massive. In front of a physical attacking threat, that is massive. That is huge. Is it a big enough effect to say, well, what's its speed tier? It's one speed faster than Ice Rider and Ursa. So So I think that might hurt it, but it's gonna. I can see this Pokemon being really good in Trick Room because it gets moves like Encore. If they try to like protect your Trick Room out, it even gets Trick Room. So that's huge. Good coverage in Rock and Fairy. Like that's amazing coverage. Um, maybe this Pokemon can do some unexplored things that I'm unsure of because its typing could probably wall a lot of things. This is a really weird typing. I'd love to see how it interacts with the format. So maybe you'd run like a Trick Room, Protect, Diamond Storm, and like a Draining Kiss. You know, I see that being like a really good moveset on this Pokemon. It's a decent Trick Room Pokemon. It's not the best, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. It doesn't wow me like it doesn't wow me. I'm gonna even drop this down here. It doesn't wow me like Meloetta does, or give me like Mew vibes. Where like, ooh, this could do some things. I don't want to say it, but Urshifu, like Rapid Strike Urshifu tears this Pokemon apart. It has to tear it in front of Urshifu. So I mean, yeah, it's a really decent Trick Room Pokemon. It's gonna get tore up by Ursa as well. Either form of Ursa is really gonna tear this Pokemon up. I think the regular Ursa is gonna have a much better matchup into it. But we'll be moving on from DNC. Clear Body is good. You can't lower its attacks, but I don't think you're getting too much mileage out of DNC here in this format. Next one we'll be talking about is Hoopa. So let's start off with Hoopa Confined. Psychic Ghost type. This Pokemon has no item. It steals the item off a Pokemon and hits with attack. And I guess it doesn't have to be a physical move. So let's see. I mean, it doesn't have to be a contacting move. What is your signature move? Your signature move is Hyperspace Hole, right? So it can learn Hyperspace Hole or Hyperspace Barrier. Hyperspace Hole breaks through protection. And it's a special attacking move. And Hyperspace Fury lowers Hoopa's defense by 1, but also breaks to protect. Hits harder, and it's a dark type move. 130 speed def, 150 special attack, 110 attack. Poor Hoopa was designed to be a mixed attacker. Rip Hoopa. Because that means there's going to be a hole in his defenses, and this base 60 defense, you don't want to have that. This thing gets ripped up by Urshifu. It's going to get ripped up by Ursa. It's going to get ripped up by any decent physically attacking Pokemon. And 70 speed means it's not the best Pokemon in Trick Room because it can be outsped in Trick Room, unfortunately. Psychic Ghost is a horrible defensive typing. I don't think you get any mileage out of Hoopa Confined. It's competing with CSR for a spot, unfortunately. Hitting to protect is still huge, but it's not as much damage as Urshifu, and it doesn't have good defensive typing. I don't think it's as bad as these. I'm going to put Confined in B tier. Now, Hoopa Unbound is a little bit of a different story. Again, atrocious typing, but I think you can get some usage out of this type. Immune to Prankster is huge, especially when this could still be a Trick Room Pokemon with room service. It hits even harder. It leans into the mixed attacking thing better here, which I I think is good. If they're ever gonna do mixed attacking variants, they just gotta make sure it just hits this hard, right? Like you gotta make sure this Pokemon can pick up one hit KOs to give it a job, give it a team viability slot. Like this thing at base 170 special attack can actually destroy things with Helping Hand or like Specs or Band just with the right setup, right? Like it can blow Pokemon up. So Hyperspace Fury here is a lot better because Space 100 hits to protect, and CSR tends to be especially defensive. It's a specially defensive mod, so it has higher speed depth than physical defense, meaning Hyperspace Fury hits it harder than Hyperspace Hold, even though your special attack stat is higher. Even though your special attack stat is higher, it's still going to hit pretty hard. The camera went out for a second there. I don't know what happened. Even though your special attack stat is higher, it's still going to hit really, really hard. So, yeah, Hyperspace, I think you go Hyperspace Fury, Protect. You can even run Play Rough. Yeah, screw it, run Play Rough. Protect. I think Play Rough is a decent move on it. It gives it fairy coverage. Like, fairy coverage is huge, especially with that attack stat. And maybe, like, honestly, I say you go Hyperspace Hold. It can run both. Yeah, it can if it can run both. Yeah, because then you have two moves that hit the protect at your choice of two different types. That's huge. You're leaning into the mixed attacking set there. You probably might want a better special attacking move. But I think Play Rough is good coverage. I think Hoop Unbound can absolutely smash Pokemon. It's just gonna take the right player to figure out is it better under Tailwind or Trick Room. I'm gonna put Hoopa Unbound in the A tier. It might even be S. I'm only putting it in A because I just haven't seen how truly terrifying this Pokemon can be under the right setup. We gotta see how hard it hits things in this format as well. I can tell you right now, Urshifu is not gonna want to take a Urshifu Rapid Strike's not gonna want to take a hyperspace hole under Trick Room. It's gonna have to switch out, right? It can't protect in front of you. Poor Urshifu finally getting a little bit of its own taste here. So I'd love to see Hoopa do that. A tier Pokemon right there. Volcanion, not Volcarona. I think Volcanion is interesting. Only fire water type Pokemon there is out there, and it has the ability to water absorb. This thing walls Kyogre. It just straight up walls Kyogre, right? Unless they're packing Thunder, poor Kyogre is going to be getting blasted. What's the signature move again? Steam Eruption? Yeah, it gets Steam Eruption. Thaws it out if it's frozen. 110 base power. This thing is basically Hydro Pump Scald. That's what it is. Hydro Pump Scald. It's way more accurate though. 30% chance to burn. You could run Fire Blast. You could run Protect. And then, like, if you want to, you could run like a more accurate fire or water move of your choice, like Scald or Flamethrower. Like that is a huge set that's gonna rip a lot of Pokemon up in the format. Everything aside from Dragon types, and Urshifu is not gonna want to see like attacks coming from Volcanion. I think Volcanion is very good. 130 special attack, 120 defense. This Pokemon is rather bulky. Again, somewhat of a mixed attacker here, but I still think you're going to want to build a specially attack as a special attacker and lean into its slower stats. So it might be good in Trick Room. 70 speed is not horrible for Trick Room, like we talked about with Hoopa. It is still going to get outsped by the meta Trick Room Pokemon like Ursa and Calyrex, but I still think you get value out of its typing. I believe this quad resist Ice Rider. Yeah, you quad resist Ice Rider. So again, this Pokemon puts Ice Rider and Kyogre in situations where if they're not running their niche coverage moves, they don't have a good matchup into this Pokemon. So I think it can be really good in those like hyper specific situations. And it has respectable bulk as well as like a clear defined niche as like a fire water special attacker that can really add benefit to the team. Because like the only niche I can say you like Urshifu does not have over this Pokemon is that it's got fire coverage that could be very valuable. There are a lot of steel type Pokemon in the format, like Zamazenta, like Zacian. Zacian is not ever super popular as Zenta, but steel types are still in the format. Steel Terra is a good Terra for some Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon like to run Grass Terra to block those spores from Amoonguss. So Volcanion can kind of come in and hit a few Pokemon super effective, and I think it can really shine there if it can get some super effective hits off into the right Pokemon in the format. I put Volcanion at A tier. I'm gonna put Hoopa in front of that. Like this is gonna be like my actual rankings, like of them, how I feel about them. Yeah, yeah. And lastly, we're gonna talk about Magearna. So these different forms don't have a different stat total. Magearna again goes away from the trend. There actually is one mythical missing off of here, which is Pekka, which we'll talk about at the end. Magearna is bulky, really freaking bulky. This Pokemon's special attack stat is raised by one when another Pokemon faints, so it doesn't have to knock out a Mon. Its special attack stat just goes up when a Pokemon. That is huge. So when your opponent picks up a KO on you, or when you pick up KOs on your opponent, uh, this Pokemon is just gonna get stronger. That is crazy. Decent move set here. Draining Kiss, Encore, Ice Beam, Thunder Wave, really good coverage moves, Confuse Ray, Electro Web, Imprison, Helping Hand. This Pokemon moveset is very deep and diverse. Shift Gear, Shadow Ball, it gets access to screens. So much good coverage here. What is Magearna's signature move? Might not have a signature move. No, it's got to. Google. Fluor Cannon. Did I overlook that? I did indeed overlook that. Lowers the user special attack by one. So this is fairy type overheat. Um, that's huge because Magearna just gets special attack boost and doesn't get nasty plot. It does not get nasty plot, but it gets calm mind. So this is like a thing you can run like calm mind, protect, draining kiss, or maybe like a steel move like flash cannon or something, and that'll be like a really good move set for Magearna. You're hitting from hard from the fairy side. You're hitting hard from the steel side, and you can boost. I think Magearna is going to be a problem. I'm going to put Magearna up here in the A tier. I saw some really good moves on this Pokemon, and like Thunderwave on this thing is huge, right? Like, because it's bulky, it can actually get the Thunderwave off. It gets access to Trick Room. This is going to be a really good Trick Room Pokemon. This is going to be really, really good. Might be the best Trick Room Mon on this list, given I think this is the slowest legal mythical Pokemon. I think no, I think Diancie's a bit slower. Diancie is a bit slower, but I think you get better defensive typing with Magearna. Steel Fairy is a huge defensive typing. I think it's way better defensive typing than Rock Fairy. So yeah, I think Magearna is gonna absolutely destroy this format with like leftovers. Because once this Pokemon gets one combine up in Trick Room, you just immediately got to start watching out. Like this move is gonna truck Pokemon. A fairy type overheat, that's going to be massive. There's not too many Pokemon that can actually take that and keep like walking around like, yeah, throw some more attacks back at me, bro. Like Zamazenta and Zacian are the only ones I can think about that can really chomp a fairy type move up because they're steel types and they're quite respectively bulky, especially Zama. But everything else is just going to get chunked by this very nasty. I mean, this immediately makes it so that dragon type Pokemon have to Terra in front of you, as well as opposing fairy type Pokemon, right? Forcing Terras on those two types of Pokemon are huge because typically your opponent wants to wait till the right moment where they figure you're going to throw out a super effective attack, but immediately leading a super effective attack into your opponent, especially in the Trick Room, this Pokemon could be a really big problem. So the next Pokemon we'll be talking about is Pekarant. So this is the final mythical. This will be legal. I don't have it down here, but I think Pekarant is going to be an S tier mythical. You call me a madman, but let's look at this defense stat. Let's seriously look at this defense stat. 160 defense is wicked. You could potentially throw an assault vest on this and just be massively bulky behind screens. And if you didn't want to, you could run Scarf, still be super bulky, and throw out the most nasty toxics, the most foul toxics in the game. All right, and the reason why toxics from this Pokemon are going to be so strong is because poison types can't miss Toxic and its ability Poison Puppeteer. Any Pokemon that is poisoned by Pekarant also becomes confused, so it hits you with two status effects in one, effectively making it so that Pokemon is in a really bad spot now, because not only is it getting residually chipped, it has to switch out if it wants to remove the confusion or risk being confused and hitting itself. Excuse me. I think that's absolutely huge. I think that's massive. I think that's really big. Because again, you can put an item on it to outspeed things, and just throwing out a toxic that also confuses. This is basically Confuse Ray that poisons. That's essentially what this toxic is coming from. This Pokemon, really massive special defense stat. Horrible typing in the Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider blasts this Pokemon if it doesn't Terra. But other than ground and ghost type and psychic type Pokemon, you are poisoning everything really bad. Really, really, really bad. Malignant Chain is huge. 50% chance to poison the target. Also means 50% chance to poison and confuse the target. You could run Protect. I don't think you run Toxic and Malignant Chain, but I might. I'm a madman. I think you run Recover, and you could like swap this out for. So Malignant Chain is a special move. So yeah, you don't swap it out for Sludge Bomb. I honestly think you could get away with running this, just because like if there's a Pokemon that like is like resist poison, which I'm struggling to actually think of a type that actually resists poison other than poison. I think Ghost Ground, and maybe Psychic types resist. I know for sure Ghost and Ground do, but like you could just, instead of like Malignant Chaining them, you could just Toxic them, and you just instantly proc the confusion and the poison, which is huge. It's going to make it so if your opponent doesn't have a steel type on the team, they're not going to want to see this Pokemon, especially if they're not running CSR. So I think it's huge. It gets access to Recover, which is huge because it's bulky. It can actually be trained to be bulky. You can go all in on this Pokemon's HP stat, and I would go all in on Spadef and just try to make this Pokemon as like massively bulky as we could, but the rest in defense, like just Just don't touch. Don't worry about its speed. You can fix that with an item. Don't worry about its attacking stats. You want to just be poisoning and confusing people because that is going to be putting a massive amount of pressure on your opponent, especially in VGC where every turn is so crucial. Being able to strip away a turn from your opponent, and even it's like the stress factor. Like your opponent seeing that confusion go up and getting hit is gonna lower their resolve to want to play and could potentially tilt them into making a bad move. I think that is a really big part of this Pokemon and what was going to make it so effective. I don't think there's too many people who are going to use it. I'm probably going to be one of the only people to advocate for this set or this style of play on this Pokemon, but I think it can just absolutely be disruptive if it's not getting threatened by a super effective special hit. But that is my opinions. So just slap Pekaron over here in S tier next to the goats right here. Slap it in S tier. Nice little peck. Put over there in S tier. So that would be my Scarlet and Violet Reg J tier list. Tune back into the Wild Pokespot for another tier list, as well as let me know what other tier lists you guys would like to see below in the comments. More VGC content coming your way. This is just the start of a beautiful VGC journey for all of us. I hope everybody has a great night and stay blessed. Oh, one more thing, this is coming from Professor Juan. Do your e-speed calcs. All right, do your e-speed calcs. Seriously.